we are going to hear this post-resurrection story in Luke's gospel. But before we do that, I've been trying to pick up some commentaries more recently written about the gospels, and two people whose work has been helpful for me are both Australian scholars who kind of look at the gospels really kind of through an eco-justice lens, like N. Elvey and Michael Trainer, I believe is his name. And in a way, obviously we come to the scriptures, Jesus' people didn't have an image of the climate crisis or IVF or a lot of things that we think about. And Trainer talks about, obviously, the way the gospel writers received the text. So like the gospel writer Luke, there would have been the world behind him, which would have included like what we have historically called the Old Testament, what we might call the First Testament. And then he would have had Mark's gospel, and he would have had this document Q, and he would have pulled stuff together. So there would have been the world behind Luke, the world of the editor, and then there would have been the world in front, right? And that's where we are. We're in the world in front. And so part of, I think, what we're called to do as creative, imaginative, faithful people is to say, how do we take what we have received, right, and also add in other voices and creative ways, like we've moved from, white male theology only to liberation theology, and not just what does the scripture say about women, but what do women say about the scripture? What do queer folks say about the scripture? And so to kind of ask, what would the earth say about the scripture too? If something that has been objectified and kind of a victim of our colonial ways in a way. So kind of a different way, but I think there's a faithful thread in there. So this very short scripture here, which also invites us to imagine Jesus as a very fleshy creature now on the other side of resurrection. While they were talking about this, Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, "Peace be with you." They were startled and terrified, and they thought they were seeing a ghost. Jesus said to them, "Why are you frightened, and why do doubts arise in your hearts? Look at my hands and my feet. See that it is I myself. Touch me and see, for a ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you see that I have." And when Jesus had said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. While in their joy, they were disbelieving. I think that's such a great line. While in their joy, they were disbelieving and still wondering. And Jesus said to them, "Have you anything here to eat?" That's such a great line. "We're going to have a potluck after church, Jesus. You're welcome to stay." They gave him a piece of broiled fish, and Jesus took it and ate it in their presence.